Hey, what's up guys, Sir Emanon here, and we are back with the Road to 1000 Dueling Book rating series, and this is going to be the inaugural episode of Season 5, which is going to be for the September 2024 map. So, again, apologize for the short break. School is busy for me, especially during the middle of the week, and I did try to record a bunch yesterday, but honestly, my commentary has gotten really bad. I don't know what it is, but I just couldn't do it yesterday, so trying again here today. And if you see this, it's probably going to be pretty late, but it is what it is. And I decided to bring the series back simply because a lot of you guys, from the feedback that I've been receiving lately, have been just preferring a lot of analytical style commentary. And I would be happy to oblige because I feel that that is my personal strongest skill set. So I think this is a perfect series to embody that. And it's a very strong mainstay of the channel, so I figured I might as well just bring it back. Additionally, speaking of opportunities to have analytical commentary on my channel, I'm actually going to be starting up again the tournament series on my own Discord server. So if you guys aren't aware, I do have a Discord, which you can find the link to in the description of any of my videos, including this one. But yeah, I used to actually host online tournaments, ironically, much more before the pandemic hit, which is kind of funny to say because obviously a lot of people have been hosting online tournaments as a solution to not having real life tournaments because of the pandemic. But yeah, in my case, I kind of stopped doing them for a while once I took my kind of short break there, or like not short break, but it was kind of like a month or two hiatus. But yeah, we're gonna be bringing those back. So if you're interested in a current format online TCG Dueling Book tournament, definitely be sure to check out the Discord link. I just put up the announcements like 30 minutes ago as of recording this video. So check that out. The tournament will start in about a week from now, so by next Friday, the 25th of September. So definitely, if you want more opportunities to play, or if you want to play in a tournament that is going to span a longer period of time, as in rounds lasting a couple of days each, to give people, scheduling opportunities and to encourage players from around the world to participate, then would highly recommend, because I think that most tournaments that are going on right now are like one-day tournaments. That kind of all happen at once over the course of like it kind of like a regional, and a lot of people do like that, but I think that other people would want opportunities to be able to play just at their own leisure, and I think this is a great opportunity for that. But enough of me rambling here. This is going to be, of course, the Road to 1000 Dueling Book rating series. So I'm gonna start things off with Dragon Link on my end, which is the projected best deck of the format by most people's metrics, and it's easy to see why. LP didn't get touched, Smoke Grenade didn't get touched, and it's probably the strongest remaining combo deck. At least in terms of resiliency, playing through hand traps, consistency, and being able to incorporate their own hand traps. But we are going to be up against a BA deck today, which shouldn't be too much of a surprise. This deck is all over the ladder. So yeah, let's get started here. He wins the die roll and chooses for us to go first, which signals, of course, a blind second list. And you can definitely see with the myriad of hand traps that my opponent's playing, you see the Ghost Ogre and the Gamma here. So what I can assume is the win condition is just to hand trap your opponent and try and set up standard BA stuff, which BA can incorporate some OTK potential if they play Hulk, or even like Cherry Beanie gets them pretty far. But this is kind of like contrast to a lot of the control-oriented BA builds that we saw with like Trap Trick and Dynamiscus, Impermanence, and all of that good stuff. And Ice Dragon's Prison is a very strong inclusion for that version as well. But our hand's pretty good. We drew the Violent Cube in 60 cards, which is kind of unfortunate, but the deck plays a fair amount of these Garnet-ish cards, so we're bound to draw one of them eventually. But the rest of our hand's very nice. We have good starters. We have cards that don't require the use of our normal summon, which is always nice to see, especially in the face of two hand traps. So we're gonna start off with Chaos Space here, just because it's it's the strongest play that like forces hand traps early, and then it allows us to go into the normal line where we go like into Romulus without having to commit our normal, like I said. So just if we need to fall back on any contingencies, and we are in pretty good shape here. So we're gonna trigger Striker and Wyvern Burster, of course, grabbing ourselves Black Dragon as well as Butte Sector. I'm going to banish the Wyvern Burster to go ahead and summon the Collapse Serpent, and then use Chaos Space, just the standard line. We draw a Nibiru, which is nice. One of the good things about this deck is that the Chaos Space / Nocturne Vision draws actually give us potential into not only extenders, but also defensive non-engine cards, which can be used to kind of supplement our board, or be kind of backup plans if we do get interrupted. So we're going to Romulus here, and we chain block again with the Wyvern Burster. Or sorry, the Collapse Serpent to grab the Wyvern Burster, and we grab Divine Lance. Finally, let's go ahead and grab ourselves the Phalanx. I still really just inherently hate having to play Phalanx, but recognize the strength of Divine Lance just being able to go into Hulk without committing to the rocket portion of the deck yet, which is actually pretty notable in a lot of cases. But Link Cross here is going to get Gammaed, which is a pretty strong point to get Gammaed because it cuts off our Marcher axis as well as our Herald axis. So that is actually a fairly solid hit. Granted, again, we still have our normal, so we can go into Hulk and continue from there, but it does require, like, if you Gamma here, like from the perspective of my opponent, you're banking on your opponent. Like, your opponent would have to have a way to get into Hulk and a way to be able to get into like good guard dragon arrows for LP, because like Link Cross is one of the ways that you could also manage that with the LP Protector Whelp line. But of course, if you cut off the Link Cross, then your opponent doesn't have access to it, so it's a reasonable place to hand trap. So yeah, quick launch is going to be the next step to grab ourselves a Tracer. And then we go into Hulk here, and actually we could go into Hulk here. Sorry, that's like in hindsight, one of the ways that we could have played was obviously going into Hulk. I should talk about this a bit, because Hulk could go into like a Rocket Synchron, and we still have our normal summon for Tracer, so we could go into Guard Dragon plays from there. But I think in hindsight, I'm kind of like looking at this replay. It's kind of funny to see this, because actually right now I probably wouldn't necessarily go for this, but the argument here is probably just specifically trying to play around Nibiru, and also like if for some reason I don't have to use Seal, like if I Nibiru my own board, then it still triggers, which is kind of funny, but it's just like trying to play around specifically that card and thinking that I could just end on Savage with like the Sector Launches follow up, which is like one way to think about it. But like, of course, the Ogre complicates things when I go to activate the Boot Sector Launch, because that gets hit. And now, even though I still have my normal summon, there's no good card for Tracer to pop to actually be able to put the Savage on board. So we're kind of just stuck here. Whereas if we went for Hulk, it's very possible that our Guard Dragons would have gotten hit anyways, but we could have maybe made a backup line at that point. It would have been a bit difficult because we would have committed a lot of our board, so I'm not entirely sure. But there's an argument to be made based on the hand traps that we're trying to play around. So it kind of can be a toss-up at times, but this seems kind of weird to just go into Seal and try and just end on Seal Savage, but I don't think it's objectively incorrect, but it's not. I'm not sure if it's the play I would have gone for if I was to find myself in this position again. But it kind of just depends on what people are going to be ending up playing. So let me know if you guys would have done something different from the options that I mentioned. I'd be curious to hear any thoughts on this matter. But yeah, Gamma and Driver, of course, get banished. Again, this isn't like horrible, based on, or depending on what deck he's playing, of course, because we have some forms of interaction. But it is definitely pretty weak as far as like the grand scheme of things is concerned. So your normal is Rhino and he goes Calcab. And he doesn't opt to go into Battle Phase, he just commits to Dante, which is the prime time for me to use Seal. The argument could maybe be made to bounce the Rhino, because then it ensures that Rhino is never really going to hit the grave, unless if like there's some other means of pitching it. But like doing it this way, the way that I did it with Seal, just like makes it so that I had a higher value in terms of like cards that I was able to get out of my opponent's hand, in exchange for Rhino being able to activate. Whereas if I just bounce the Rhino, then any other BA gets him into the Dante play anyway, and he has a chance of still milling like Rhino or the newly released Graph to 2. So I think in the end, like even though he's guaranteed like a quote-unquote play, it's not going to be as strong necessarily, because he's kind of going to be down on cards at this point. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and trigger Rhino. He's going to trigger Rhino, and I'm going to trigger the Seal to grab Brotar. And then Graph and Brotar will both get their effects. So I'm going to get Levy in here, and he chooses to get Farfa. And I don't feel like too badly about this, because pretty much like my thought process was that even if Graph were to summon like Seer, and then he were to summon just another BA, we could have just Nibiru'd him there, and because there's no Dante engraved, Seer can't revive anything that wouldn't immediately kill itself, because the Nibiru token would just be in the way. And then that would just cut off the rest of his BA axis. So I felt like doing it this way was, pretty fine given the circumstances. We're going to be at the end of main 1 here, because that is his 5th summon. and then the token's going to be there. He chooses to far for the Nibiru to get damage in, which makes sense. Like there's lines where it is an alternate world where if he had more BAs, he could far for his own token and then summon BAs and go from there. But obviously with one card in hand, can't really do that, especially without your normal summon. Like there's like no tour guide to fall back on. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and grab Nibiru. And then with this hand, we're in a pretty good spot, right? Because we just have a bunch of bombs and extenders. So we can go ahead and go Levianeer. Just tuck away the last card. I don't really want to be dealing with like maybe another top decked hand trap that I could have gotten for turn. And then once he sees the rest of my hand, he decides to scoop it up. So pretty good way to kind of mitigate getting hand trapped. You can still end on disruptions, and that Nibiru draw ended up being clutch because that was what allowed me to kind of stabilize and board build again on my next turn. So here we are. He's making us go first again, which is kind of the gamble with playing against blind second lists, especially if you happen to win game one. Because the majority of the time, if you're playing a deck like this and you're playing against a blind second list, game one's going to be you going first. So like if you end up taking that game, that means that like their blind second strategy like didn't go according to their plans. So you have to kind of assess if they're going to stick to their guns and go second again, or if they're going to, of course, board into their go first cards and just decide to go first. But I decided that given how many hand traps he was playing and given the deck that I'm playing, it's unlikely he's going to make me go first, or go second rather. So yeah, he's just playing a lot of ways to try and stop combo decks. So like he's probably just trying to hope that like 2 hand traps this time will be enough. But we opened Chaos Space again, which is pretty fortunate, but we opened it with another Garnet and Phalanx. So, you know, there's always a trade-off. Open the best card and some of the worst cards in the deck. So yeah, Dark Worm's kind of an interesting combination with Chaos Space because it's kind of a conflict, because you want to banish Dark Worm obviously for, or whatever dark you pitch normally for your Wyvern Burster, but you also want to summon the Dark Worm by its own effect because it's just, you know, 3+1 if you just pitch it off Chaos Space. But that is fortunately mitigated by this Noctivision Dragon here, because it just allows us to link off, put stuff in grave, and then we can banish the other stuff without having to commit the Wyvern Bursters. So it leaves Wyvern Burster as like a better kind of extender later on, because like this can't really make guard dragons, whereas obviously the baby dragons can. So it's better to get Noctivision out of the way first anyways. Additionally, what it does is allow us to chain block in a way where opponent is never really tempted to use disruptions on it. So we get to draw more cards and see what we're working with essentially. So here I do a pretty funny brain fart. I draw, of course I draw a Violent Q, but I accidentally add Divine Lance when I already had Phalanx, literally because I paid no attention and was just not looking at my hand. Literally, there's no other reason. And then I realized that as soon as I added it, I was like, oh, oops, that is not what I'm supposed to add there. And this isn't even like that bad drawing Phalanx inherently, because the way that you play around that is you go ahead and summon any other extender, and then you make Striker Dragon under the Romulus and use Romulus's other effect to get Phalanx out of your hand. Even if it can't be used as link material, you just turn the Romulus into Link Cross and then go for the Marcher play. But like in this particular instance, it wouldn't matter that much because my opponent is, as you'll see, very adamant on hand trapping the Link Cross itself. So it makes it so that like even if I were to go that line, the Phalanx would kind of just be stuck on the board because it can't be linked away with, and there's not really any other good opportunities to synchro using like its specific level and whatever else I have. Because we're only playing those 2 synchros and Savage, of course. But regardless of all of that, adding Divine Lance is wrong. It doesn't justify adding Divine Lance, but I'm just saying like it could have been okay having this Phalanx here, but yeah, it should have definitely been a Ravine add there. And drawing the cube is just kind of an insult to injury at that point. But Link Cross is going to get hit with the Imperm here. And that definitely is unfortunate, but I have kind of a couple of ideas here. So the first is to use Boot Sector Launch right away, because last time he Ogred it, so I'm actually specifically this time checking for Ogre. The last time it totally caught me off guard with like the Seal play, because I was banking on Seal Savage, and you know, Ogre on this actually just shut that the Savage part of that play completely off. But in terms of, you know, me trying to actually navigate through Ghost Ogre, like in particular, this was actually just a check for that card, because there's like, you could reserve Ogre for the guard dragons, but I feel like in his mind he thinks that the boot sector resolving is going to be like what allows me to go into cards like Halqifibrax and the Guard Dragons and stuff. So yeah, so here again I'm expecting that if he has Ogre he's going to use it here, and lo and behold he actually does, which is very, very good because we haven't used a normal summon because again of Chaos Space just being an insane starter card. So we're able to go into Halq this time, which was the play that I probably should have gone last time. But here it's definitely more, you definitely feel better about going this line more because they use 2 hand traps already. So like, if your opponent has 3 hand traps, then they just drew insane. But yeah, here we are in a very, very strong position. We're able to go ahead and grab Wyvern Burster for Collapse Serpent. And then use Chaos Space to draw an additional card. See what we're working with here. And we draw Smoke Grenade, which is finally a good card to draw. Every card in our hand is dead except the Smoke Grenade. So that's pretty funny. But yeah, we have Pisty here off the Rocket Synchron, of course. LP can grab Brotar. And then Brotar can pitch one of our dead draws for a Levianeer. So here, like, because I have Smoke Grenade and Levy, I'm like, I can just loop 2 more cards out of his hand and then end on like a lot of the standard Dragon Link shenanigans. So yeah, we're gonna go into Protector Whelp and then go in for Pisty to bring back the Tracer that we banished. And then go into Delindrus, which this is like a cuttable card. I kind of want to just talk about this a little bit. You don't have to necessarily play this card, but I think it's good as like a follow-up play if you are able to, like, for example, stick a Boot Sector launch on the field, and then like if your board gets broken or if you like got hand trapped or something, you can use it. Its other effect, like the Soul Charge effect, to bring stuff back. And then like this is just an easy way to climb into Borosword, which facilitates OTKs. It's also good just as like an extra body, because like there's not really that many good things to convert the Guard Dragons into. Like you have the Protector Whelp. If you're using it the way that I am, you're using it to kind of just clear arrows so you can resolve your Guard Dragons. Because like normally you're able, like you have the Guard Dragon set up and you need to link something away. But the other options for linking away the Guard Dragons, or like removing the Guard Dragons, are like the Trishula Fusion, which I've tested continually on and off. I mean, there's like pros and cons to it. I do like the card, just getting the info, especially in a game 1 scenario. Like banishing from the extra deck is really, really nice. But it gets rid of an extra resource on the field, which is kind of unfortunate. So I mean, there's like things that I like and things I dislike about it. And there's cool things you can banish. Like you can banish Tempest, or you can banish like Thunder Dragon Roar, or you can banish just random things if you want to play like random tech cards. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like Delindrus is just the most consistent one because it plays under the Guard Dragons and like it has synergy with the rest of the deck, and I feel that that is good enough to justify its inclusion for the most part. So yeah, enough about that. We're gonna go ahead and link away the Delindrus and the Protector Whelp into a seal, and then we can go ahead and summon a Levianeer and then rip one of his cards. I believe we hit the Seer. Yes, we do. And then we go ahead and make Union Carrier, and we grab ourselves the Wyvern Burster back, and then we can go ahead and Smoke Grenade, and then pop it with the Tracer. And then here is a case where it's like, you could bring Delindrus back, but there's not really any point because it's going to be sitting on the field doing nothing. So I decided to just kind of leave it there and save it, because just in case like we have follow-up for next turn. So yeah, we hit one of the tour guides, and now I know the last card in his hand is a tour guide. And then we go into Savage, and he ends up scooping there because we're just going to use Union Carrier. And no matter really what he has, he can't really play through this board. So that was a pretty good showcase of how to play through disruptions. I think the Imperm on the Link Cross was fine. My hand had a lot of extension, to be fair, but I think the Ogre on the Sector might have been a bit preemptive, especially considering that I just didn't have a normal, because he knew that I had a rocket that I was trying to summon off Boot Sector. So like he knew that like I could have just normaled it, right? So I'm trying to think. Yeah, I never got it off of Absa Router. I don't think I ever directly searched it, so he didn't know. Maybe he didn't know it was like specifically Tracer, which means that he was kind of just banging on the fact that it wasn't a way for me to go into Hulk afterwards, which I guess is fair. But at that point, I also had the Wyvern Burster that I didn't use yet, so I could have easily gone. I easily could have gone like normal summon if it was like say a Recharger I was trying to summon off the Boot Sector. Like I could have gone like normal Recharger, summon Wyvern Burster, make an LP, make Protector Whelp, and then go from there, right? Because I was Black Dragon, and I could have like gone into Pisty and do like pretty much the entire play. But yeah, that is going to do it for this video. Apologize again that the uploads have been a little bit on the slow side, but I promise that I'm actually not taking a break from the game this time. It's just a matter of finding time to actually sit down and record and upload stuff. But once again, check out the description for the Discord server if you were interested in joining another online TCG tournament. I know there's many out there, but just in case, you know, I'm going to definitely be uploading future matches. I don't think I ever actually explained the whole like analytical commentary thing with this, but yeah, I'm gonna be probably uploading a lot of feature match commentaries off that, just more opportunities for me to talk about the game, relearn the game, kind of reintegrate myself like I've been saying for the past couple of videos here, and just, you know, have a good time. So that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like as well as any thoughts or feedback in the comment section down below. Feel free to subscribe for more informative and competitive Yu-Gi-Oh content. If you want to, you can follow me on Discord, Twitter, or Twitch, all through links in the description as always. And once again, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I'll catch you in the next video. See you guys.